On this week's episode of Marketing O'Clock,
we've got some prime news for Google Ads e-com advertisers.
The general lack of information around a Google Ads update is very on brand.
Google is making brand exclusions exclusive to AI Max and inclusions too.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Monday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Christine Zernheld.
AKA Shop.
I'm Jess Budd.
And I'm Greg Finn.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock.
Here on July 28th, 2025.
Welcome
Hello.
back.
Yeah.
I was gone for so long. I missed that TikTok drama with the inappropriateness.
Mm-hmm.
I missed your sadness. Are you okay?
I'm great.
I'm so
actually
happy.
doing really great.
And I missed the entire core update.
The entire
slacker,
core update.
as Jess said.
You poor
Well,
thing.
good news. We got a lot on the core update here
Yeah.
at the end of the show.
I wasn't off for all that time though.
No, just off the show.
I was off. Obviously, Independence Day, I had to go see the president of our country, Beyonce Carter Knowles, perform in the Cowboy Carter World Tour in the nation's capital.
Oh, I didn't see her on the ballot this year.
Everybody wrote her.
I
in.
wrote her.
All right.
So that was, I can't even put into words. So I had to take off Thursday to drive there, and you guys recorded the show, so I missed that day. Then I came back to work for a week. First of all, shout out Genevieve, the little girl in front of me at Cowboy Carter. It was her first concert. She decorated her hat. It was a white hat, and she drew on it with felt markers and wrote howdy, and she spelled it HODY.
Aw.
She was so happy to be there. She's a big fan of Renaissance. She knew all the songs.
What?
Okay.
It was such a good time. I meant to bring my fan today. I wanted to get the one that said bang, but it was sold out. We need to talk about Northwest Stadium.
Nobody even understands
We don't know what
she's
you're
talking about.
Yeah, I saw the concert at Northwest Stadium in Washington, D.C., but it's really in Maryland, where the Commanders play.
Okay.
No shade. I feel as someone who was raised by a Washington football fan who doesn't understand the down system personally, I feel like I can say this. That place is a dump. And I was embarrassed to say that I grew up going there a couple times.
That's sewage.
It's
All-
way off, too. You have to walk. It's
Yes.
in Arlington, right?
Oh my God, it was so, no, it's not in Arlington. That's where I was staying. It's in Maryland.
Okay.
Arlington's in Virginia. It was we had to drive an hour to get there, sat in all the traffic. It was terrible. And we had to wait an hour to get a Sir Davis cocktail. And all the girls in line are like, have you ever been here before? I'm from Pittsburgh. And I'm embarrassed to say yes, I have.
Why is that embarrassing?
It was a dump. And then I had to use the men's room multiple times.
I love that, though.
Is
That
she
is such
not
a good life
Beyonce
hack.
Knowles Carter anymore?
She is.
Oh, you keep saying Knowles. I didn't know if she is she with Jay-Z still?
Yeah, but we don't talk about him.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Well, it's Cowboy Carter. She used the name.
Yeah, it's
Not
Cowboy Carter.
Knowles.
But you kept saying Knowles.
That's what she
That's
is to
what
me.
everybody-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Beyonce Knowles Carter.
I'm just trying to fill the gaps for the audience that have no idea what you're talking
I'm still trying to understand the fan.
Time.
Yeah.
Just what is she saying?
I think she's saying that a drink was more important to her than the merchandise,
Always.
which she's upset that was sold out. So she sent a man to do her bidding because she was at a woman-empowered show
Yes.
in a stadium that she grew up going to and didn't realize how bad it was.
It's
That's
so
nowhere
embarrassing.
near anywhere where she was supposed to be. There was a lot of traffic and a cute little girl.
And then what's the fan part, Jess?
We
still
had
time out.
fans. I'll bring it next week. We have fans, and you can clap them to the beat.
So it's not a fan. It's a clapper.
No, it's a fan. I'll bring it next week.
This is the most confusing.
Yeah.
The most confused I've ever been.
And are these fans, they're football merch? It's not Beyonce.
No,
fans.
it's Beyonce merch. I wanted the one that said bang.
What does that mean? So what did you get?
I got a fan that says Cowboy Carter. It's black and there's a horse on the other side.
That sounds nice.
Because Beyonce's a horse girl now. Anyway, men's room first time was okay. But come on, 20 urinals, 2 stalls. That's really the ratio we're dealing with in the men's room at a football stadium?
Yeah.
I was just made aware of this right now.
That is inappropriate. Have more stalls because Beyonce's going to come to town. Second time I waited, there was vomit on the seat. Terrible experience.
So men are in there puking?
Yes.
Too many.
No, there were a
Sir
lot
William
of men.
cocktails or
There were a
whatever.
lot of men.
Really?
But like fabulous men
Got it.
in high heels. So then I came back to work for a week. Then I went to Maine. We left on a Friday, came back on a Friday. So I missed my responsibilities with the show. And taught my kids 99 bottles of pop on the wall.
You're an amazing mother. Aren't you glad she's back? I feel like
Yeah.
she just made up for missing 3 podcasts.
That's what you
in
missed.
3 minutes.
Amazing.
Also, my car got scurvy. There was so much sand. It like reeked of like ocean stank. Like it had scurvy.
I think if you just squeeze a couple oranges into the gas tank, you'll be fine.
Wait, I sent Jess the symptoms of scurvy. Do you want to know what they are? You have sore gums. Your stomach rumbles.
Every day.
Your feet are itching you. Your sea legs are no longer. You're irritable. There are red blotches under your skin. Your hunger is constant. You are cranky. And people do not like you.
I got everything there but the itchy feet.
I have scurvy, and so did my minivan. Okay, well, from the main news to the main news. By the way,
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Greg is horrified by my story.
From the main news to the
Yeah,
main
the
news.
main news to the main news. We'll say it again. This is like really upsetting. Google is making AI Max a requirement for using brand controls in new search campaigns. So this, I guess, was spotted by Jerome Fleck, senior SEA consultant. And you can see brand exclusions in a setting for a search campaign, but it says turn on AI Max to use these. I loved the idea of brand exclusions.
And it's also inclusions.
Right. That's like less upsetting to me. But I mean, I guess for a branded campaign. But brand exclusions were like the easiest way to just cut out branded traffic. And now you can only use them if you have AI Max. Also, what about PMax?
I'm assuming
I would hope you could use
you
it
can
for
still
PMax.
use it.
Yeah, this is just for search, right?
That's really upsetting. No word on if it's going to get turned off if you have it applied to existing
Legacy
campaigns.
stays.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I wish we would have had a heads up.
I know. And I love it. Even for brand inclusions, I think it's super helpful. That's something where if you're using phrase match and you've got a huge catalog of products and you want to go after something that's very specific in there, like let's say I'm Dick's Sporting Goods and I want to have soccer balls in there. I can put my brand in there, put soccer balls in there, send everybody right to that page. And you can just use so many less keywords. And it's just like literally size 4 soccer ball, size 5 soccer ball, go to those pages, whatever. And it would have to have that brand name on there. And I think that was something that was really, really cool that you could do from a branded standpoint. There's so many less keywords. And when you do branded, it's just like you want things to be accurate and you want those soccer balls to go there. And I don't want somebody looking for soccer balls to go to the soccer equipment side of things. And with AMX, you're going to have no idea what it's matching. It's keywordless. And I think that's a huge miss on Google's part, is being able to send people immediately to those sections with that easy to use brand inclusion. And obviously the exclusions are even bigger. It just makes zero sense to me as why they would actively work to take that away.
Well, they want to push us to all use AI Max.
That's the answer. But I hate this. There is nothing wrong with brand exclusions. There was nothing wrong with brand inclusions. I use both. And I think this is a terrible move because especially for those brand inclusions, you want to use something like phrase or exact to make sure you're actually getting people looking for something specific. I don't want shin guard people going to my soccer ball. And then you're going to have these legacy ones that are still there that have the brand exclusions in there. And then you're going to have to build basically your own new brand exclusion negative list that then you can apply. It's just so, it does not make sense. The only answer is they're trying to push more people to AI Max. And in reality, the proper answer is to get more people to use AI Max is to make it work really good. That should be your one and only, first and foremost thing to get people to use the product. It shouldn't be removing things from other ones just to force people into there. That is the dumbest reason to do things. I understand that it works, but you should have a little bit more pride in yourself, Google, and say, I made this new AI Max. It is on par with all the other matching that is out there, and people are going to use it because it's good. You shouldn't have people use it just because it has more features that we didn't add just for AI Max. We took away from the other ones. This is a stupid change. It is a greedy change. And it's why, even though we've had a lot of good things happen, you just always need to know that Google is out there trying to shake that extra penny out of your pockets.
Yeah. I was going to say that. I feel like we've been riding such a high with good Google announcements. And this is that was one of the biggest wins of the year was brand exclusions for me. And now.
And how long do we think it is before these legacy campaigns get migrated
Who knows?
to AI Max?
Or I'm sure it'll be if you download it to Editor, you can't upload it again until it's gone.
That's a whole different
they go
can of worms.
Yeah.
Freaking Editor.
Yeah.
I hate it. I really, 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 really hate it.
Amaya Papaya.
Still no
I
idea
still
what
don't
she's
know.
Giving
Yeah.
a thumbs down if you're listening.
Okay.
But that's the other thing. I was out. Love Island ended. So it's good news for you.
Think it's honestly literally one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Everywhere we go, everybody at this company just talks about this stupid Huda, and they're like, Huda, have you seen what Huda did in Love Island? Did you see the Huda Alex Cooper interview? Did you? And we're at we went to a baseball game, and there's one other person in the office. Jess, you don't.
I don't.
But one other person in the roster office that doesn't, Amy, and we're like, hey, we're going to get a water when we're at this baseball game, and the person at the concession stand is having a full-on conversation about Love Island. We're like, I cannot get away from Love Island.
Well, it's over, but Amaya's thumbs down lives on in my heart.
Okay, so that was a Love Island.
The energy
reference.
I'm bringing.
You know who else lives on in my heart? Dario Zanoni.
He's still alive.
Yeah. Isn't the thumbs down? Whatever. I don't know if I use that right, Dario, but
He
we
lives on
appreciate
everywhere.
You live on everywhere, in our hearts and on our computers and on LinkedIn because he posts something. He found a new help page for the branded search conversions that were revealed at GML. And he's got a screenshot, but if you're wondering what they are, they show the number, these conversions, it shows the number of searches users made for your brand on Google and YouTube after seeing your ads. I think that is a cool metric.
Yeah.
I do
so
like
this
that.
is announced at GML.
And
it seems
I think we didn't know at the time if it was organic or just ads. I feel like it's organic searches.
I think it's ads.
But even if an ad doesn't show, you think we won't see that?
I do not think you will see that.
I hope we will.
That's how I read
that's
it the first
But
time.
YouTube is, you're not going to see a search ad on YouTube.
Right. So it's more like brand lift, where you see halo effect with YouTube, where you will see the traffic and then there will be that halo of conversions that happens with it. So what at least when they announced it, my interpretation of it was that you're running YouTube ads. You also need to be running branded ads. And Google can sync up between you saw a YouTube video for a Celsius, you did not make the conversion, but then you had been served the Celsius ad and you clicked on a Celsius branded search ad.
Personally, I hate that.
Yeah, but I don't.
I would like to just see anyone who's searching for Celsius after seeing a YouTube ad, whether or not an ad was surfaced.
I agree. It would be great to see everything. But if you're only reporting on ads, that may be difficult to say, now let's start bringing organic traffic in.
I understood it differently. I understood it as if somebody searches on Google or YouTube for your brand after seeing an ad where you did spend money.
It doesn't say
Then you
anything
would
about
see-
clicking. They don't
Yeah.
have to click on the branded ad, on a branded ad, right?
And it didn't have to be a branded ad in the first place. I
Yeah.
don't think it's any of your campaigns, certain campaign types. Right? Am I misunderstanding that?
I don't think you ever have to click on anything to see this. It's searches,
The
not.
search
yeah.
is the conversion, is the fact that the search happened. That's how I understand it.
It says branded searches are available for video, performance max, demand gen campaigns on YouTube and
Yes.
Gmail inventory.
So any of those campaigns where you're running an ad, you will then be able to see if somebody clicked on that ad and later searched for your brand. You'll get that conversion in that campaign.
Okay, I'm going to read a post from Jill Saskingales quick. I'll be right back. It's branded searches, Jess, to your point. And what you need to do is to have brand mapping configured for accurate attribution. So it does seem like it is all searches that come afterwards from any of those sources, which are YouTube, Performance Max, Demand Gen, which includes YouTube Discover and Gmail. So
I think that's wrong too.
well, why is that? How are we supposed to understand this?
It's really hard to understand, but I think it's those campaign types, YouTube, PMax, Demand Gen, is where you can see this brand lift reported.
Yes. So you can see it from dollars spent in those locations.
Yes.
And for Performance Max, it's YouTube, Discover, and Gmail. You will not see brand lift from search or shopping, apparently. And Demand Gen, it works for YouTube, Discover, and Gmail. No, like, just display. So very, very complicated and confusing, but those sources may actually help your brand lift, obviously. So this is cool. It's just confusing.
It's very confusing. And the fact that they call it a conversion, I think we all agree here it should be a secondary conversion. It's probably not something you want to optimize for. And it also sounds like you can't optimize for it yet, according to the help article. So that's good. But
Well, it comes in as an all conversion or secondary
yes.
conversion. Okay.
Yeah. But I would like to see then if they could take it a step further. So somebody sees my ad, then later goes to YouTube or Google and searches my brand. If they convert then, I would like to know that that branded search was part of the journey. So it would be nice to see some good reporting on that, because they might convert later without doing a branded search and it would report on that too.
Yeah.
But if it's part of the path, if brand lift is really important and a part of your strategy, it would be nice to know if that extra brand step, I guess, in the user journey is assisting a conversion. So hopefully we'll know more about this as it starts to roll out into accounts. But for now, it's very confusing. And I'm sure it'll be absolutely wonderful once it's live. What else you got, Greg?
All right. This is big news from the shopping side of Google Ads. It appears that on Thursday of last week, Amazon pulled out of all PLA or shopping ads, which is a massive deal.
That's
if you
crazy.
look at your competitive metrics in Google Ads, and you're an e-commerce girl or gal or guy, girl, gal, guy, you probably see a lot of Amazon in there. If you narrow it down just to like maybe the 25th, you should see Amazon drop from there. And we're recording that day, so maybe they flip it back on. Maybe they're just doing like quick test, who knows? But Mike Ryan has said that they made the dramatic international exit from product advertising on Google Shopping. I did a bunch of searches last night, and they still were running text ads. So if you see those, I could not get any Amazon to fire on PLAs, and I was looking, and it seemed like that was correct. We have no information other than this could be a test to see like if there is actual incrementality there, or maybe they're out. They've been out in the past and come back in, and maybe this is another effort there, but this is fantastic news for anybody
everyone
in
else.
e-commerce.
I think they spent all their money on the wedding.
Yeah, those
And, yeah,
Those
on the,
beautiful invites.
Yeah, those invites.
they're pinching their pennies now.
And it was in Milan.
I think this came straight from Lauren. No, Venice, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
Lauren is Lauren Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Great American.
Also, like Jeff Bezos is what, like, it's like the American dream. You're just like this guy that looks sort of like a librarian that like sits in this little office, and now you look like the Terminator. So you get old and you just like have an insane
just
glow up.
Purely physical, you're saying?
Yeah, like that's so
Oh.
cool.
I
Don't you
thought
think
you
that's
meant
the
like
American
leaving your
dream?
philanthropic wife for Lauren Bezos, which I would disagree with. I was about to be like, ugh.
No, I think it's cool that he just got jacked out of his mind, taking some probably HGH. I'm just assuming. Probably something else. That's so cool.
Women are laughing at him.
Yeah. He looks
Why?
like Kevin
His
Spacey.
silly little space astronaut dreams.
The boots are too much.
It's embarrassing.
It's like,
The boots.
yeah.
Like, stop.
You think he looked better before?
It's not about looks. Like,
That's
him as a
the thing.
person is just like, ugh, Jeff, stop.
I feel like everybody that gets that level just turns into a rat human being.
Yeah, that's how you get there.
Yeah.
For sure. And now for this week's
Cool tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners and is really, really cool. This week's Cool Tool will help you check out your competitors so you can do better. It's PPC SpyBot, a scraper and then some. You can schedule automated checks for specific keywords and locations, get real-time alerts, AI copy suggestions, be careful, insights into the most active advertisers, screen for similar headlines, and so much more. You can use it to peep your competitors' ad and landing page changes very quickly and hassle-free, so you can craft your own messaging to really stand out from the noise. Your first project is free free forever, and there are paid options if you need to scale up. So again, that's PPC Spybot. Check it out. Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
This week's Take of the Week comes from Lily Ray over on Search Engine Land. She has a great article called AI Search is Booming, but SEO is still not dead. And I just want to read a little passage here from this. And this is the take. And she's talking about GEO and everybody really pushing themselves as AI experts, even in this very new field. And she says, to start, it's important to question the source of some of these big claims. Ironically, many of the month-old faceless entities peddling grandiose solutions to AI search appear to be AI generated themselves. They use AI logos and AI automated marketing campaigns to offer big promises, but with little evidence that proves the company actually has any real experience earning visibility in AI answers. Hundreds of self-proclaimed GEO experts have suddenly materialized, each professing to possess the secret key to unlocking visibility in a marketing domain that has existed for less than a couple of years. They claim to be experts at optimizing technology that evolves and improves daily through reinforcement training, model updates, and new features and integration. The trend isn't surprising given the broader persuasive hype around AI. That hype actively encourages the creation of AI solutions designed to replace traditional businesses, displace teams, and automate their workflows. These sales pitches can bamboozle companies eager to jump on the AI bandwagon without fully grasping the implications or the risks of what's being sold. We're undeniably in a cycle propelled by more hype and urgency than by genuine substance. Many are capitalizing on the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that have taken the marketing world by storm with the rise of AI.
She's a great writer.
Great writer.
Yeah.
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
Did you guys see last night that she posted an AI overview about Hulk Hogan?
No. Is this
Asking if he was
back
alive.
from the dead?
No, she said, is Hulk Hogan alive? And the overview said, yes. Many sources report Hulk Hogan died. That's not an exact quote, but it answered the question with yes about him being alive. I'll find it. Anyway, she finds everything, every little thing.
Rest in peace, brother.
I know. Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
First up in the paid universe this week, we've got lots of updates from Thomas Hassell to get through. First, Google has introduced a new requirement under the advertiser identity verification, and it is ads funded by. A lot of people talking about this week. Thomas says, from what I saw now, even advertisers who previously completed AIV will now be asked to submit additional information to populate this new field. So it's something people can see when they see your ad in the SERP. It's going to not only say who the verified advertiser is, but who it is funded by, if those are 2 different things. We've seen some screenshots of how this looks in the platform when you're going through that AIV process. And Anthony Higman, as always, has a hot take. He says, cue the confused client emails to all agencies. These appear to be going out en masse right now. So clients could be getting emails that say, your ad disclosure now shows ads funded by whatever name. So just be aware that they may have questions about that. Next up, Emrahan Bayutma spotted Google Ads recommended raising target CPAs based on your competitors gaining impression share. And from this screenshot, he has it blacked out or covered so you can't see the names, but it seems like they're naming who the competitor is. Their impression share is up by this much. Raise your target CPA to help gain some ground there. That's pretty crazy.
That is.
Yeah. And usually you would see how much, in this case, it was a drop in target CPA or more efficient TCPA. Typically what you would see is how many less conversions you might have. But with this case, it's more that fear mongering side of things where they're like, oh, this is how much better everybody else is going to do. And I think people are going to fall for it.
Yeah.
But if you have goals and you have certain metrics you're trying to hit, like take some of that with a grain of salt, especially if you have something like Broad Match in there or AI Max. You should never look at target.
Or if it's
for sure.
PMAX campaign.
Yeah.
It could be, right?
Was it PMAX?
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
But you can see impression share for PMAX. But you shouldn't care.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't care. No, it's keywordless. Why would you care about impression share? It doesn't make any sense. But you wonder why we talk about it week after week, where CPCs are up and clicks are down, or there's more competition. It's like all these things are aiming in that direction. And just last week, Google came out with their Q2 earnings. Their ad revenue up 10.4%. And you wonder why.
I don't wonder.
I don't wonder why. I literally don't. It's because of all these systems in place, and I think it's smart bidding. And then obviously the expansion, as we've talked about with some of those phrase and exact match, really expanding out PMAX, keywordless technology, bidding on things you don't even think that you're bidding on. And this is just going to keep the revenue going up.
For sure. Another update from Thomas Assell. In the wild, in the SERPs is it looks like an extension, but it's a little call out under an ad, a search ad that says 100,000 plus visits in the past month and has like an up and to the right chart symbol next to it. So trying to get people to click through based on that call out. I wonder if that's just ad traffic or all traffic.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Can you give us some information if we're paying you money, Google?
Yeah.
This is like a hate on Google podcast. If it's just ads that people have clicked on, this is just like, hey, you got a big budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Using maximize clicks. Next up, Hannah Kobzova noticed a new little icon in the recommendations tab. And if you hover over it, it opens the recommendation so you can click to apply and like read through all the details of the recommendation without ever leaving the page. So fewer clicks for the recommendations. Not surprising there. Next up, Barry Schwartz was looking for some insights from Ads Liaison and another person who was in Maine last week, I would guess, Ginny Marvin. I was in her homeland. Felt good. He says Google dropped sponsored label from the Find Related Products and Services ad section and put smaller disclaimer at the bottom of that section. So there, I guess, used to be a sponsored label in these and now there's not. She said this ad unit placed by Google provides commercial search suggestions related to your search terms. The searches in this unit are not biddable and advertisers do not pay for clicks on these links. We are testing various label treatments on this particular unit to offer greater clarity based on feedback we've received from users and advertisers. So it was never sponsored?
Why would you put it there?
Well, that's what we talked about the first time. It's like, these aren't really ads. It's just going to Google searches that probably have higher CPCs or have more ads because it's more commercial. And they had it sponsored. People are like, what is this? How can we get in there? And now they're just saying that we're selected to connect you, essentially. But it's really just to drive more revenue.
They think more people are going to click it if it says, or they're testing to see if they drop the sponsored label, I guess.
Yeah. And I think one of the initial examples was for something like solar energy, and that it was something along those lines. And then afterwards, it's like, some of the sponsored at the time search queries that they put you into is like solar home installation kit or something that is more commercial than just like solar energy.
So there's more ads for people to click on there.
So people would be like, oh, that's a much more lucrative term. I'm willing to spend more for that. And even an example Barry's got, there's like luxury bed sheets and things like that. I'm assuming the initial one was probably just bed sheets.
Interesting. Well, also interesting, Thomas Assell is letting us know that Target CPC bidding is now live for demand gen campaigns. So everybody go crazy if you want to try that. This is exciting. Huge unconfirmed RSA update. I don't know if you can call this unconfirmed because people spot it in their accounts, but we haven't heard Google say anything about it. Bob Mayer, is that how we're saying his last name?
That's how they say the grocery store, right?
Okay. Bob Mayer and Miles McNair discovered that some accounts now show click and conversion data per RSA headline, replacing good, better, best.
I mean, I know they found it. In some of our accounts, I've been using this.
Really?
Yeah.
This must be something I missed while I was out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it anywhere. That's awesome.
Yeah, we were doing an audit. We were just in town and we're looking at headlines.
Honestly, what a time to be alive.
We were in town.
Oh, we were, for what we were talking about last week for that client. They have it.
Next up, there is a new account banner showing in Google Ads showing to switch logins to business domains to secure accounts. So this is if you have like random Gmail addresses that aren't part of your company domain, it's going to advise against that. And Thomas Assell has like step-by-step guide on how to fix that if it's a problem in your account. But if you see that banner, that's what it is. And our only piece of paid news that is not Google Ads related is from the new X account, Microsoft Ads Buddy. Have we used this as a source yet?
I haven't seen it. It's really cute.
I'm feeling some Nava Hopkins vibes here. And I think first piece of news, we should all follow this. But also from Microsoft Ads, impression-based remarketing now supports up to 20 campaigns and ad groups as sources. So I think you could have combined lists across different campaigns and say if somebody saw my ad, even if they didn't click, you could now combine up to 20 campaigns, create a list, and use it as targeting in another campaign. This says, additionally, so long as at least one of the campaigns is an audience ads campaign, any campaign can be the target of the list. So that's really cool.
That is cool. Thanks, buddy.
All right, first up in the organic section this week, there was a tweet from Nate J. Hake on Twitter X, and he shared a Bloomberg story to which Nate said, Google is negotiating the future of the open web in secret with 20 big publishers. Indie publishers or info sources Google doesn't approve of are getting, quote, locked out, end quote, of discussions. We are witnessing an AI information cartel in formation. And then the judicial sort of like scale of freedom. I don't know. What is the scale? The judicial scale?
The justice scale?
The justice scale.
Yeah, Lady Justice.
Balance. Isn't it a balance?
Justice is blind. She has like a blindfold on. You talking about that?
Yeah,
statue?
so you use that emoji.
Yeah.
And then the article says that Google is seeking licensing talks with news groups following AI rivals, and that they are looking to bring in a licensing project related to AI to bring in basically 20 national news outlets. And Google stated, we've said that we're exploring and experimenting with new types of partnerships and product experiences, but we aren't sharing details about specific plans or conversations at this time. So that's a great feeling. If you're a small indie publisher, small, medium size, it's like, oh, we've got this deal, but it's only for the top 20 news outlets out there. It's just like such a bad look by Google.
I'm sick.
So you know what? I thought, hey, SMBs are probably pretty upset about this. Probably not feeling good. You're out there. We already saw the helpful content update and what happened to some indie journalists out there. So I decided to head on over to Google Small Biz on Twitter.
In a while. Yeah.
At Google Small Biz. And this month, Google put out a little tweet that says, invest in your community, heart emoji. Support small business, heart emoji. It's that simple, heart emoji.
That's beautiful.
To which I agree with.
I do too.
But Google doesn't.
Nope.
Well, they're just not going to share any specific plans about how you can do that at this time.
Pew has also done a study on how people interact with AI overviews. The results are, I would say, what I expected, but I think they're also kind of pretty shocking if you actually have only ever listened to Google Talk. If there's an AI summary on the page, in general, out of 100 searches, 8% of those make a click in the search results. That almost doubles if there is no AI summary. It goes up to 15 out of 100, 15% of people click on that. Also, 26% end their browsing session if there is an AI summary, compared to 16% that end if there is no AI summary. And then more people, a small portion, but continue to search on Google if there is no AI summary. So the results are not good. So Pew said Google users who encounter an AI summary are less likely to click on links to other websites than users who do not see one, to which Google gave Barry Schwartz a counter statement saying, I'm going to do a Google voice because I'm vomit if I have to read this like in reality.
Yeah.
People are gravitating to AI-powered experiences, and AI features in search enable people to ask even more questions, creating new opportunities for people to connect with websites. This study uses a flawed methodology and skewed query set that is not representative of search traffic. We consistently direct billions of clicks to websites daily and not observe significant drops in aggregate web traffic.
Can I just say, my therapist told me this week that when you're talking to your friends about someone and you impersonate their voice, it is a sign that you've lost respect for them.
Check. AI overviews, lost respect. Check. It's like, we know what is happening. You cannot tell me that the emperor is up there with no clothes on and that he has clothes on. You can't tell me that. I can't make my head see clothes on a naked man standing in front of me. I just see his I'm going to be staring at that. I can't put fake pants on somebody. If this was real, you would share AI overview clicks. You would share AI mode clicks. You wouldn't group everything together. At one point in your life, you'd put one piece of data out that actually shows what you're saying. You can't just say things. You have to have some sort of stats to back it up. How is this not like the emperor's clothes, with what Google is saying? Do they not see this?
I think eventually they're going, it's not going to end well for them, but right now they don't care.
It's like, show the data. All right, and Google Merchant Center is adding a new Product Studio tab to the left. In the past, you had to go up and to the right to get there. This is a nice element. Product Studio is actually very nice. Great for people with a small catalog. Lots of cool editing of photos and things that you can do there. So that's a nice change. There is also another change in Merchant Center for Found by Google. You can now see that in the data sources, and you can go right in and start managing products from there. Before, it was in a plain text layout and a structured table format with a button. You should probably make sure that all your products are actually in your feed and not have to rely on Google to go through and find those products, but that's a different story. Also from Google, from Gary Yesh, normal SEO works to get into AI overviews. He said, to get your content to appear in an AI overview, simply use normal SEO practices. You don't need GEO, LLMO, or anything else. To which Barry Schwartz on It's New made a great line. He had a great line. He said, Gary came out and said that if you're looking for SEO, you don't need GEO, LLMO, AEIO, or
EIEIO.
EIO. Yeah, that was it. I laughed. It was good. But also, don't listen to Google. Don't listen to Gary.
That's
This is wrong information.
dumb.
It's also factually wrong. Also, Google has a new Trends API. So if you're trying to get Trends data, there's an API. You can take that data and use it on your own. If you have any type of shows that you're doing, there is new SEO guidance on that. And basically, I believe this was John Mueller over on Blue Sky. He talked about if you've got these other type of products that are time limited, you can leave these up if they're bigger shows and there's more conversation around it. But if they're smaller, you may want to, and they drop out of interest, you may want to 404 the pages.
Like live events.
Yes.
Don't tell my 4-year-old.
I won't, especially if it's 404 and she'll never see it. Also from Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable, there is a See More link that is not a site link. It is above the site link. It is showing in the description within the SERPs, and it just says see more. I don't even know what it does.
Yeah, what happens if you click it? I know we see more, but of what?
Also, Google Search Console has a new logo. Do we care?
Sure.
It's nice.
It's cute.
It's fine.
I give it a 6 out of 10. What do you give it?
7. What offends you about it?
I don't like how the magnifying glass goes so far below it, and it's not in line with it.
It's peeking at it. I don't know. I give it a 5. It doesn't do anything for me. It's fine.
That's it in organic. What's happening in social, bud?
All right. First up in social this week, it appears that the most recent extension on the TikTok deal talks will be the last. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was on CNBC's Squawk on the Street this week, and he said, "We've made the decision. You can't have Chinese control and have something on 100 million American phones." So it appears lawmakers are holding tight to the fact that the U.S. buyer must gain control of both the app and the algorithms in order to meet the terms of the arrangement. So if that doesn't happen by the current September 17th deadline, the ban would stand and the app would go dark. So it sounds like a deal that was somewhat close last week, just had somebody back out of it. So we'll see. They'll probably extend the deadline again, but they're saying they're not going to this time.
So crazy that was this year when we lost TikTok in our minds for one day.
Yeah. And now it may happen again or it may not. September is really not that far away. It's like 50 days and change. So we'll see.
And now we're losing brand exclusions, you know?
Just RIP everything. I can't wait to see what hits our in memoriam list this year. All right, moving on. Triple Whale recently conducted a study of 20,000 e-commerce advertisers with a cumulative $3 billion spend across platforms. This work was commissioned by Snapchat, I will say that, as the platform wanted to see just how their ads perform for online retailers and prove that they're a player worth considering. So per Snap, the research reveals that despite being a smaller platform by spend share, Snapchat achieved a 7.5% ROAS improvement, while most other platforms declined. And for a specific cohort of advertisers, they also had the lowest CPA across all platforms. Key players in that performance are the fact that Snapchat users love the visual search element of the platform and that 80% of Snapchatters claim social is their primary way to keep up with fashion trends. So if you're in that space, definitely consider testing Snapchat if you're not already, and other e-commerce brands outside of fashion should probably check that too. All right, Threads users who love to express themselves visually will be happy to know that the platform is adding options for stickers and GIFs and DMs. They are also working on edit, unsend, and delete options for messages, as well as group chat functionality. So more to come there. And the platform is also rolling out expanded analytics options for creators, including additional information on their audience demographics, which is cool, as well as the source of your engagement. So like whether somebody was on your profile or found you in search on their homepage, things like that, which I love. It helps folks get a good sense or a better sense of how their content is being discovered and consumed. Speaking of expanded insights, Instagram is testing a new addition to Post Analytics. I absolutely love this. It's not perfect, but they're testing the ability to see which frame of a carousel was up when a user hit like on the post.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can kind of see what content resonates, but sometimes it takes a few frames to hook somebody. It doesn't mean that like the third picture is the best. So you could take the data with a grain of salt, but it's nice to have insights like that for sure. This one I'm not sure I enjoy as much, but the Gram is also testing an auto scroll option for the post feed. It looks like you would have to toggle it on, which is good, but it reads a little foie gras to me.
Scroll down.
I don't like it.
They would just scroll.
It just scrolls. You don't have to touch it. It's just going to auto scroll for you. What if I want to look at something longer? Like stop.
Be good for my carpal tunnel.
Oh, rejoice.
We're all going to be just blobs someday. If moving your thumb is too much.
Right.
Geez.
Yeah. And how do you know how long I want to look at something? You don't. All right. Finally, this just in. Instagram says it doesn't restrict the reach of posts that include the phrase link in bio. That's straight from Adam Mosseri's mouth. He took to Threads to debunk the myth. So that's good. But just remember that just because the algorithm isn't limiting you, there's other things that could be impacting. So impacting your performance. Andrew Hutchinson made a good point. He said it could be that users are putting too much reliance on the link to provide context. So the post isn't good enough. There's also people could be fatigued by that term. Somebody else popped off in the comments and said folks don't want to be sold to. So there's other elements there, even if the algorithm isn't hindering you. So good to know that, but just don't be lazy. Do some creative testing, see what works best for you. You know, God forbid you care less about reach and more about what folks do when they finally get to your site. Maybe build a remarketing list. I don't know, just some thoughts. And that brings us to our real life segment. Straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
Working hard for me this week. This might be old. It's old news to some people. The search term report in AI Max. I remembered when it was announced, they said we could see headlines and the URLs it went to when you had final URL expansion turned on, but I couldn't find it. But there's a little filter at the top of the search term report where you can say either search terms is like the automatically selected option, or you can see search terms in landing pages from AI Max. Or there's one for dynamic search ads too. So that's working hard for me. It's nice to see.
Hardly working for me is just accounts in Microsoft. We use Teams, we use Clarity, we use a bunch of things. You can have a personal Microsoft account, a work or school Microsoft account. You can use your Google account to log into Microsoft. You can use your Microsoft account to log into Microsoft. And I can never be where I want to be, and I don't understand why it's so hard.
And then it wants me to make a PIN.
Ugh.
And mine is the same thing. I know this is bad pod, but I am so frustrated with Microsoft. And then it's like, go to your authenticator. I have my Microsoft authenticator on my phone, and it gives me a code that has 2 extra digits than what it's asking for. So then I add a new Microsoft authenticator in, and now I have 6 digits, which is the right number of digits, but I still can't get in. So then I add it to my Google authenticator, and I scan the QR, and that doesn't work. And then everybody's like, well, maybe you should use Duo as the authenticator. So then I download Duo, and the Duo authenticator doesn't work. And I can figure out how to get into something on my phone, but I can't figure out how to get in on the web. And each single device that I have, where I have 4 that I use regularly, none of them, every single time I have to figure, it's like solving, like, so you're curing cancer trying to get in Microsoft. And then the thing that is just the cherry on top is to say, stay logged into this account. And you click it every single time, and it has never worked. I guarantee when you click that button, it doesn't actually do anything. It's just a fake little toggle, and it does nothing.
For
and
a
it drives
decade.
me
They have
insane.
Literally.
A decade.
Yes, since the day I started in this biz.
And I'm like, oh, maybe it'll all work if I just switch to Edge. Nope, Edge sucks too. Edge hates Microsoft. It's all a disaster.
I think there's just a laughing sound that plays at HQ when you click that box.
Yeah. Seriously, like, wouldn't you be like, one thing if we're trying to get people to switch from Slack to Teams is let's make things easy. There is nothing easy about Microsoft.
I'm trying to give you my money.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI.
ICYMI people.
This is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have.
ICYMI people from Notorious JSG, Jill Saskingale's friendly reminder that serve cost and bill cost are not the same thing in Google Ads. She says, I've been running some Gmail tests to prepare for a Gmail ads course I'm putting together. And for this demand gen campaign, I see a campaign total budget of $200 and audience targeting and remarketing to my YouTube video viewers. She says, then she turned on, it was spending $10 a day. Then she said YOLO and turned on optimized targeting, and it spent $186 in a single day. So obviously, when you see that in your served cost, it's a little scary. But she says, fear not, I won't be billed for the charges. My spending limit was $200. So this is a lifetime budget, it seems like, not a daily budget. Google Ads spent $283.98. I only have to pay Google $200, and she got $83 worth of impressions and clicks for free. Not saying that I advocate for this as a hack, but if your campaign does overspend, just remember you won't be billed. And we've run into that before too, so it's a good reminder.
Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
This week's must-read marketing article of the week comes from Glenn Gabe. And anytime that he puts a post up, I always just think of the meme where it's like, babe, wake up. And the guy's over his like wife. And they says something like nobody cares about, like, oh, you know, Nathan Peterman signed for the Bills or something. But it's babe, wake up. The new Glenn Gabe core update post dropped over on GSQI. Glenn has a post called the June 2025 Google Core Update Analysis and Findings covering the HCUX surges, AI overview impact, YMYL volatility, and more. A big old title for a big old post, just like Glenn does. This is the best post about the June 2025 Core Update that you can imagine. Talks about some e-commerce issues, some actual coupling of the search results back, but mainly when there are no AI overviews present. Talks about the some reviews, some turbulence before, and then also goes into some big recoveries from HCU. So instead of talking about this myself, let's hear from Glenn, who is here for an interview on Marketing the Clock. All right. And as you just heard from the must-read marketing article of the week, we have the one, the only Glenn Gabe here on the show. Glenn, welcome to Marketing the Clock.
Awesome. Always great to be here.
All right. And you had a phenomenal post over on G Squared Interactive, gsqi.com, called the June 2025 Google Core Update Analysis and Findings covering the HCU surges, AI overview impact, YMYL volatility, and more. And let's get into it. So one thing you said multiple times in the article, starting out, even your conclusion, you were saying this is a big one. The June core update was big, really big. Can you talk about how big this was?
Yeah, so I track these updates like crazy, right? So all broad core updates can have a lot of impact, but some you start to see massive, massive volatility. All are global, they impact every vertical, but when you start to see like massive surges and drops across a lot of different sites, and I mean a lot, like I have so many documented, I almost had to put a stake in the ground and be like, all right, I'm done adding more here. So that's what I was seeing. And then that mixed with, and I know we'll talk about it, but like the HCUX, the September helpful content sites, which unfairly have been kept down for a long time, seeing that surge, those surge. So I knew Google had done something with those systems that assess the helpfulness of content. So YMYL, there was tons of activity there, and e-commerce as well. So it was just a really big update. And what's interesting is the data providers came out recently based upon their aggregate look at things, and they were like, yeah, it was really big. So it kind of matched what I was saying as well.
Okay, and was there any of those, like you just covered a ton of different verticals, and not even verticals, just people being impacted, let's say. Anything jump out to you as maybe being more pronounced? I know this is sort of a general update that covers everything, but was there anything that was surprising to you on the most movement?
It's really hard to say. I'm always on record explaining that no one's ever going to reverse engineer a broad core update. I mean, you have many systems working together to output a score. I would say the category I think that really stood out to me was like YMYL, so health and medical, finance, legal. There was just a ton of volatility. Now, it doesn't mean there wasn't a ton of volatility in other verticals as well. I just saw a heavy amount of it. I've helped companies in those verticals as well for a really long time. So I have, seeing the GSC data as well as the search visibility data, it was just a really big area that Google obviously did something with because there was a ton of volatility there.
And one other thing in your fantastic article that you covered was some of the pre-core volatility. And that's something, I know you've got that primer on the core updates, which is a must read for any SEO out there. But this one had a lot of early volatility. And maybe we'll get to it a little bit later, maybe some post-update volatility as well.
Exactly. So it's really important to understand Google's on record about this. I actually reached out to them with the March 2025 core update because there was tons of activity right before that update. And they were clear. They're like, the core update starts when we announce it. Anything before is not that. And, with this June volatility that we saw, and I saw a ton of it, and so did a lot of people. I saw lots of sites that were previously impacted by product reviews updates or reviews updates. So I think Google, we know, is behind the scenes pushing reviews updates frequently, as Danny Sullivan said. So I truly believe that one of those updates that we saw that was unconfirmed was a reviews system update, because I have a ton of sites that were impacted by these reviews updates that saw where we're surging or dropping and so on and so forth. But so two things. So it's really important to understand that anything before the core update is not the core update. It could be Google updating specific core systems or several, which they document and say that they can do, and they call those smaller core updates. And those could have a lot of impact on certain sites. But it's not a broad core update where Google's refreshing and updating its entire core ranking system. And that's why during the 16 days that we saw just a ton of volatility with that. But I know a lot of people are like, the core update started 2 weeks before. It didn't. But you may have a site that was impacted by whatever core system was updated.
I think that maybe one of the most surprising legs of this update to me was HCU recovery, right? We saw that obviously back in September 2023. Helpful content update. There was a summit in Google saying the content, it's not the content's fault, but some of these site owners, hopefully if they are still in existence today, may have seen some help from this.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most surprising thing, right? Because I've been analyzing the helpful content updates, since 2022 when Google first rolled it out. But that September 2023 helpful content update, which I call the HCUX, was a really big update where many niche publishers absolutely got obliterated. And I mean 98% plus down for some of them. And listen, it's clear, some of them should have been impacted. A number of them shouldn't have been impacted or impacted as heavily as that. And the biggest thing was that from medieval Panda days to broad core updates, you should have an opportunity to recover. And with this update, something went very wrong on Google's end. Google's kind of explained that. And these sites just could not recover no matter what they did. And it was wrong. right? It was wrong. So it was amazing to see them start to surge like crazy. I remember when I first saw it and I started sharing it on Twitter, on X with my core update notes, and I was like, I hope this sticks, right? Because there's so many site owners, the ones that were wrongly impacted, and there were a number of them, you want to make sure that they come back and don't drop back down, because we've seen where they start to surge during previous updates and they come back down. But anyway, the surges here are really big for some of them. Now, they're still not back to where they were, most of them, like before the September 2023 helpful content update. But big surges back for a lot of these sites, which is great to see.
Yeah, and I'd say that in some of those examples you gave, it was about doubling the traffic, and then you had some that saw like 4x the traffic. But to your point, I'm assuming that still isn't making up for that 98% drop that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, there are a few that I've documented that actually have full recoveries from the 2023 helpful content update, September. But most are not, right? Most are still down. Now, listen, this surge in search visibility and traffic is great for them, but for some, it's not going to make up for where they were. But to be honest, should some of them have been that high then? Some definitely no. Some are really good, and maybe they should get back there. And there are a few, there aren't many, but there are a few where I can show search visibility literally returned to where it was. But again, not many.
Yeah, and there also is a lot more things in play as well over that time frame, like AI overviews and some of those people just doing short little quick answers that are now generative. Another great point that you made in the article was just that when people look at core updates, a lot of times they look at sort of traditional search, and that you're sort of imploring people to look at that impact across all Google surfaces, web, image, discover, AI overviews, AI mode. Is that something that you're seeing with this as well? Is that it's really like across the board on all Google owned and operated?
Yeah, exactly. It's really important to understand that. It's something I've documented for a really long time. Google's confirmed it. I mean, we've always seen heavy Discover impact, and Google Images can be impacted in video mode. The News tab in search. Now AIOs, so AI overviews and AI mode can be impacted by broad core updates. So I always make a point to emphasize that, especially with this update, because AI overviews are now a really big deal. And you can see, and I provided that in my post, where sites negatively being impacted saw AIO visibility drop as well, heavily. So, my biggest thing was, because I wrote a post a few weeks ago where it was like AI search is less than 1% of traffic to most sites. And for most, it's under 0.5%. So don't miss the forest for the trees and suddenly focus entirely on ChatGPT or Perplexity and let quality drop. Because if quality drops, now web search can be impacted, Google News, Discover, Google Images, video mode, the News tab in search, AIOs, and AI mode. And unfortunately for some of these sites, they really are seeing a big drop across the board. But on the flip side, if you're positively impacted due to quality, right, with a broad core update, you can now surge in those as well. So there are sites surging in AIO visibility in Google Images and video mode and so on and so forth in Discover. So it's really important to understand that there are many Google surfaces. It's not just web search.
Yeah, and you had a great little chart. I'm assuming it's from SEMrush in there, where it was just AI overview visibility, and it like shot through the moon, right?
Yep.
From this core update. So
Exactly.
cool. And then you're obviously started with this, but YMYL or your Money Your Life sites probably had the biggest, or maybe impacted the most with this one. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, just a ton of visibility changes, a ton of impact there. And it's important for people to understand YMYL, sites that focus on YMYL content are held to a higher standard algorithmically. Google's documented that, right? So authority becomes a really big thing when Google's, evaluating sites from a YMYL standpoint. So some of the drops are really terrifying, to be honest with you. There's a site in finance that comes to mind just because it's one of these visuals that you'll see in my post. But I mean, massive drop. It looks like a 70 to 80% drop in search visibility, starting with the June core update, just a few days into the update. It has not reversed as of this morning, because I checked almost all the sites that I saw have heavy impact. So that can happen. A lot of health sites are surging, lots of health sites are dropping. Legal sites I saw. So anything if you focus on YMYL, I think the biggest thing is maintain a very high level of quality because you're held to a higher standard.
And I think it's fair to call you the Babe Ruth of Google algorithm updates, or maybe the Aaron Judge of Google core updates here. Do you think that those visibility drops for YMYL either down or surges, looking at the quality of the content, using that knowledge that you have, were they warranted in your opinion for the ones that you've seen?
Yeah, so there's many factors that come together. I've always said there's never one smoking gun with a broad core update hit. First of all, you need to understand, is it quality? Is it relevancy adjustments? Is it intent shifts? If it's the latter two, then it's not really a quality thing. If it's quality, then you need to look at content quality, user experience, advertising situation, aggressive affiliate, technical SEO problems that cause quality problems, not just technical problems. And when you start to look at a site overall like that, you can start to see some glaring problems with these sites that were impacted. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but usually when you start to go below the surface, you can start to find a lot of things. For example, some of these sites are huge with over 1 million pages or over 10 million pages on the site. Are there pockets of like hundreds of thousands of pages that are lower quality, thin? Some are a bunch of soft 404s, blank. There's just a lot of stuff that can go on. And then you have the user experience part, because Nav Boost, and a lot of sites don't realize it, Nav Boost is an important system to Google, and it basically evaluates 13 months of user interaction signals, right? So that's how Google knows happy users versus unhappy users. And that has really not a lot to do with other factors. It's literally understanding user behavior. For example, if a lot of people in aggregate are coming from the search results to your site and leaving quickly, that is a really bad sign. That's low dwell time. Google can pick it up a number of ways. And Nav Boost data is basically collecting and evaluating that. So anyway, to answer your point, yes, some of these sites have a lot of issues. But you really need to dig deep and kind of surface and then rectify a lot of those in order to come back.
Okay. And so where we said with the HCUX update, a lot of, maybe there were some babies thrown out with the bathwater, but you're seeing what you would maybe more expect with your knowledge of, quality content and some of the changes with this June core update.
Okay. So this is a different aspect, right? So Google clearly fixed something on their end, right? There are some sites that did nothing that were helpful content, HUX sites that got destroyed, that started coming back. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting because at one of those events, Paul Harr was there, right? And I've always said, I had a chance to meet Paul Harr a few times actually, and he's one of the smartest guys at Google from an algorithm standpoint. He knows everything, has worked there forever. He's just a super smart guy. And when I saw him suddenly now part of the helpful content, things that they had where they had the creators there and stuff like that, I was like, wow, maybe they're sicking Paul Harr on this. And I remember that was a few months ago, and now suddenly sites are coming back, right? And I have no idea if he did anything, but I will tell you, would not surprise me at all. So anyway, the main point is Google really fixed something on their end. And it's good because I am seeing sites with really good content and that have fixed a lot of things come back as well. So It's hard to say how much of it is what the creators did versus what Google did, but I know for sure some sites that have done nothing are starting to come back as well. Again, great to see, just because Google had to fix something on their end.
Okay, and then two more quick things on this. And again, I would implore you to go read the full article over on gsqi.com. But it also seemed like some of the folks that were hit in March 2025 core update saw some surges back. So a lot of surging back, I would say, in June 2025. Is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, sites have seen reversals, and it's not just dropping and coming back, but some are that went up or going down. So really interesting to see that, because Google, in order to really recover, you need to surface all of the problems, quality problems, fix all of those, implement them, and then Google needs to see that over the long term. It's usually not the case that you're going to come back, like even if it took 2-3 months to fix that, you only have a little bit of time before the core update comes out. And the core update when it rolls out, it doesn't take recent changes into account, meaning like over the past few weeks. So to me, that may be something that Google's adjusting on its end, right? Turning the dials with certain systems, whatever it may be. But it was very interesting, and I have some documented in that post. A really good one, actually, where it completely tanked during the March update and came all the way back, almost all the way back or more with the June update. So that can always happen, but I would tell any site owner that had that happen, get clearly out of the gray area, because you just got hit in March. Did you do enough to come back, or is that Google turning the dials? Because if Google turns the dial up or down for the next one, are you going to get hit again? So I would continually work on improving quality over the long term. That's really the key.
Okay. And then we are recording this last week, actually on Thursday, but it seems like there's some tremors afoot with June 2025. Is that true?
That is true. I just shared about that this morning. There have been a lot of people saying what's going on after the update. The update took 16 days to roll out, but over the past week or so, we've seen a lot of volatility. I went through all of the sites that I had documented that saw a lot of volatility, and now there's even more. So even as recent as like yesterday and the day before. And the screenshots I shared on X are basically like sites that surged now spiking up, or some that did well during the update and suddenly they're coming down over the past few days. Now, thankfully, most of the helpful content sites, I was very afraid to check that because I thought maybe they'd go up and come back down like they have in the past. But most of them are stable. Not all, but most are stable. It's more the kind of larger scale sites across different verticals that I saw that are either surging more now, which is great for them, or starting to come back down. So again, it's back to that Google updating potentially a core system or several outside of a broad core update. And that's all they need to do. And that could impact some sites heavily. And I have a feeling that's what's going on now because there's distinct changes over the past few days.
Okay. I guess in Paul we trust, right? Let's go.
Yeah, it was just really interesting because I think I shared about that on X. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Paul Har was involved, and then suddenly good things happen. He's really smart and has fixed a lot of big problems at Google. So it wouldn't shock me if he was involved.
Awesome. Well, Glenn, I could talk to you all day long. We could do just full-on podcasts, you and I, but we're going to kind of keep these interviews a little bit short. So thank you so much for jumping on today. Anytime that there's an algorithmic update, we're going to ask you at least to be our go-to correspondent for that. And again, Glenn is the leader in algo updates, core updates, everything like that. I highly recommend reading his core update primer. It's over on gsqi.com. Read the newest article, read anything that Glenn puts out. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe. It's at Glenn Gabe on YouTube. Fantastic, thorough. If you like this, you're going to love that channel. Glenn, anywhere else people can find you or anything else you have to promote?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So I'm a heavy X user, so I'm all over there, LinkedIn and Blue Sky as well. So those are basically the places to find me, and definitely reach out to me across those social networks or email me if you have questions. Always happy to respond to that.
Yep. And he's Glenn Gabe everywhere, Glenn Gabe. And you can find him on any of those social platforms. And if you ever have any issues with your performance with an update, you just put out the Glenn signal. Probably too busy to help you, but if he could, I'm sure that he would. So Glenn, thank you so much for hopping on today. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Greg.
And now on to our playlist of curated songs to work to. You can head over to playlist.marketingonclock.com to listen to Marketing a Playlist. I will be adding Suzanne by Mark Ronson and I think Ray this week.
R.I.P. Ozzy. I'm adding Paranoid by Black Sabbath.
And I'm going to go with First Aid Kit by Out of My Head.
All right, that does it for today's show.
It's now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Thanks for listening.
We miss you already.
We can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.